Hello, my name is Jesper Carstensen of Dimension Software. Today I'm going to introduce you to our new EDI tools for Task Center. Task Center is, as you may know, as a system for automating tasks around databases, ERP systems, and the like. And we have created some EDI tools for Task Center. The EDI tools can read and import EDI files, and they can create EDI files. The EDI files can be Tradacom, it can be Edifact, it can be VIX, all that kind of things. This is a VIX file, and this is actually the file we are going to work with today. There are 4 tools to the tool set. There are 2 tools that we use to upload and download files from a van called EasyGrid, and then there are 2 tools that we use for importing and exporting EDI files. The import tool, which we're going to look at today, takes an EDI file as its input and it creates a record set, and the create EDI file tool, on the other hand, takes a record set as its input and creates an EDI file. The way I'm going to demonstrate the tools today is that I'm going to create a task in Task Center from scratch, basically, and then we'll go through that until we are able to import this EDI file I just briefly showed you into SAP Business One. We're using SAP Business One today, but you can use any of the ERP systems that Task Center connects to. Okay, we have an empty task, and the first thing we need is to download the EDI file from the van, and we do that using the EC download tool. There's not much to configure in that. I've already configured my username and password on the EasyGrid van in the database. So all we need to specify here is the path where we want the files to be placed. We put them here. Okay. When this task runs, this step will log into the EasyGrid van with my username and my password, and it'll download all the files that are in my mailbox or in my inbox on the van. It'll download all the files to the path we just specified. So that was fairly easy, actually. The next thing we need to do is to import these files. That's a much more complicated thing, of course, because we need to specify somehow what does the file look like. First of all, we need to specify where do we read the files, and of course we read the files at the same path where we just put them a moment ago. We give it a file filter, anything. And then we need to consider a couple of things. As I said, this tool will create a record set based on the EDI file. The record set is then later being imported into the ERP system. So we need all the information that we need when we are going to import the file into the ERP system. We need all that information in the record set. In SAP Business One, to import a sales order, you need 4 pieces of information. You need the customer name, you need a delivery date, you need item codes, and you need a quantity. If you have those 4 pieces of information, then you can create a sales order in SAP Business One. So let's keep this simple and start with that. The customer code, the sort order. I'll talk a little bit about the sort order later. This is just saying that we want the record set to be sorted based on the card code. I can't spell here. There we go. We said we wanted a delivery date and an item code. And we want a quantity. Of course, in real world, you would probably need much more information. You would need something like customer references. You might import the prices as well, stuff like that. But in this case, we'll just stick to this. So what I've done now is I've said that we need these 4 columns in our record set. If I just briefly close this step, we can go in and see that I have in fact created as an output a record set with these four columns in it. Okay, back to the step. Now what we're going to do is we're going to specify how to interpret this file. We do that using something we call an interchange, and we have an interchange editor where you specify all of these things. No programming or anything is required. What I'll do now is I will create a new interchange with nothing in it, and I have already, of course, I will not be able to specify the entire content of this file within this demo video. So I have already created an interchange that I'm going to import, and then we are going to work from there. Here we go. Okay, so we get the format of the file imported. There are some things that we can see here, something like there's something specified here like an element separator, which is a star. And if we look into the files, we can see that the elements, this is an element, are separated by stars. A line like this, we call that a segment. And then the line is split into elements. And in some EDI implementations, like Edifact, elements are again split into sub-elements. The VIX format does not use that, so it doesn't get that complicated. Oh, sorry, wrong button. Here we go. As you can see here, we have specified 5 areas of the file: file header, document header, lines, document footer, and file footer. And we can go into each of these areas and look at the segments and elements. So if we just go into sorry, that wasn't what I wanted. I wanted to go into the file header. Here we go, file header. We can see the file header consists of 2 segments, ISA and GS. And if we go into the file, we can see we have an ISA segment here and a GS segment here. So that matches the file. And of course, all of this is described in the VIX implementation manuals that you will probably get from your customer if you're going to communicate with the EDI with one of your customers. Okay, digging further down, we go into the GS segment, for instance, and we can see that the GS segment consists of 8 elements. And if we go into the file, we can see we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 elements. So the structure in this interchange editor, it strictly follows the structure of the file. And if we look at the first element in the GS segment, we can see down here that it's a static value, and the value is PO, and we have selected value match. If we go into the file, we can see that the value of the first element is very true, PO, which by the way stands for purchase order. And because we have selected in the editor here, we have selected value match. When we import the file, the tool will check that the value in this field is indeed PO, and if it is not, it will create an error because then it's a wrong file, or the format of the file is wrong. Okay, so this is the file, and I've read the manuals, the implementation manuals for VIX, and I've figured out that the dates here is our delivery dates, and I figured out that this is one line of the purchase order. We have the barcode for the item is there, and this is the quantity for the item. So now we already have 3 of those pieces of information that we need to put into our record set in order to create the record set with all the information needed. And we start off by putting those 3 pieces of information in. Actually, we start off by putting the item code and the dates in, and then I'll show you something else later on. Okay. The date is in, sorry, we need to close this. There we go. The date is in the document header, and it's this first date time reference. You can see we have the first element of this segment. It's a DTM segment, and again, comparing to the file, it's a DTM segment. The first element is supposed to be 010. I'm going back into the editor. See static value 010, and then we have the date here. And as you can see, this means requested ship. So this is the ship date. Now, how do we get this into the record set? If you're familiar with Task Center, you will recognize what I'm doing now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take the delivery dates from the record set and drag that in here into the value. That means that when this tool runs, it will take the value from that field, from the file, and put it into this column in the records in the record set. Okay. We'll do the same thing with the item code. Was in the lines in the PO1 segment, as you may recall. In the PO1 segment, we have it here, the line, the item code, or the barcode rather. And it's down here somewhere, UPC code, 12 digits. And again, I'll take this browser up, and I'll say the item code, we need that here. And we'll need to take that from this field in the file. Okay, dokie. Now there is something special with this file, because actually it says here that we are going to deliver 10 of this item, but there's a twist to that, because in this SDQ segment, it means that we are going to deliver 7 out of those 10 to a store called 001, and we're going to deliver 3 out of those 10 to a store called 028. Now, 001 and 028 it's a representation of the customer that is going to this is going to be sent to, because we have created a customer in the ERP system for each store, and we have called the stores the customer codes in the ERP system are called SAKS dash and then the store number. So this is close to being our card code, our customer number, but it is not quite that yet. So we'll leave that a second, and then we'll start off by looking at this at the quantity. As you will see here, this one line on this one line in this purchase order will actually be 2 lines on 2 different sales orders in the ERP system, because we'll have a sales order to this customer and we'll have a sales order to this customer. So we'll actually, from this one purchase order file, we will actually create 2 sales orders. Okay, let's just do the quantity first, because it's the easiest. So we go back into the into the editor, and we're not going to use this quantity because that's the total quantity, and that's not the one we want. The one we want is from here. It is this quantity. So again, bring up the browser, and we'll put the value from this into the quantity. Now, I have created them beforehand. Before I started this demo, I have created something that I'm going to show you now. I've created a function. Just going to here. Go. I've created a function, and again, if you're familiar with Task Center, you will know about these functions. It's something that you can call during the execution of your steps. And I've created a function which basically does, what it does is it takes, as I said, SAKS and puts in front of whatever it's called with, whatever it gets into it as a variable, as a parameter, sorry, and it returns that. So if we can get our store number in here from the file, we will get something back called SAKS dash and then the store number, and then we have our customer code. And I'm going to show you how we get hold of this. How we get hold of this function. So just need to move this so we can get to our edit button. Going back into the lines. Yeah, into the SDQ segments. We have the store number. And what we want is, we actually want two things. We want the function to be called so that the store number gets converted into SAKS-store number, and then we want the value to be put into the record set. And the way we do that is we go in, we find our record set here, and then we say we want this into the card code, so we take the card code first, put this in here, and then we make sure that we have at the back of this, that the cursor is behind this. So this goes first, and then it says colon equals, and then we put we need the browser again, and then we put the function again. Put the function in here. It's in task, and we have the function. We drag that in here. Okay. So what does this give us? If we can get, we can't. We just open this because it gets a little bigger than. Here we go. Gives us this step record set card code. So we put it into the card code. Colon equals the convert to card code function. And we don't have to worry about the parameters, because the value of the field from the file is automatically put in as a parameter to this function. And that's why we had a parameter in the function. Okay. So this concludes our mapping or creation of this interchange. We have got the card code. We've just seen that from the function. We found the delivery date, we found the item code, and we found the quantity. So now we have all the data that we need in our in our record set. Just a brief word again about this sort order. The reason why I sort this on the card code is that we're going to have records in this record set, rows in this record set from several different card codes, but we want only one order to be created for each card code. So we sort it on the card codes, so we only get one order for each card code, and I'll talk about it again in a while. Okay, so this was the import EDI file tool set up, and what we want is the download tool to run first, and then we want the import EDI tool to run, and we do that by dragging this. Next thing now we want is to import this into SAP Business One. We'll say to this SAP Business One connector that it should take its data from the import EDI file, which is the record set of the import EDI file. We have set up a connection, and I always do. Sorry. Here we go. I always do this because then I get if I get an error or something, I get it into this value, into this variable, task set variable, and then I can do something on that later on. Because in real world, of course, you would have to handle proper error messages and stuff like that. Okay, mapping. You can see we have the four columns of our record set, and we want to import this as a sales order, as I said previously, sales order. And this takes just a while it gathers the schema of the sales order. Here we go, and we want to add that, and we want a new object, a new sales order on the change of card code. And again, here comes the reason why I sorted the record set on the card code, because then I'm sure that I'll get equal card codes together, and when the card code change, I get a new sales order. Okay, so I just do the mapping here. Delivery date is in SAP Business One called doc due date. There we go. We take the lines and we create a new line on the change of item code. And item code is not actually item code as you would have expected. It is called code bars because it's the barcode of the item we have in the record set. And then we need the quantity. It is down here somewhere. There you go. So now we have mapped the record set to our in our SAP Business One connector. And we have mapped that to, so we say, okay, this field goes there, this field goes there. Okay, that aside, we can connect these two. Say we want the SAP Business One connector to run after the import EDI file tool, and that's the end of that. The Easy Download tool will download the EDI file from the EasyGrid van. Import EDI file will take the EDI file, convert it into a record set, and the SAP Business One connector will import that record set into SAP Business One. Okie dokie. Let's see what it does. We will queue it now, let it run right away. And we got an error in the import. Let's have a look at what the error code is. It will probably tell us what the problem is. Let's see, in the variable, here we go. And this is some XML stuff. Exchange rate not updated. Yes, of course. It's because we've just crossed the border to a new month, and thus we need to set the exchange rates. Sorry about that little thing. While I'm in here, I'll go into the sales orders, and we'll just see whether the last sales order today is 152. We will run this step again. And of course, in a real-world implementation, you would have to do something based on that there is an error code in this XML variable. Sorry, in this XML variable. Based on that error code, you would have to do something, send a mail off to someone, start a workflow from Task Center, whatever. So this is, of course, a very basic implementation. Okay, let's see what happens now. You can see the Easy Download tool logs in. This time it didn't download any files because there were no files. We just downloaded everything. And this time it says completed, 4 records processed. So if we go into SAP Business One, we can see that we have now got a sales order code 153, which is to the customer SAKS 001, and one for the SAKS 028, as we got the numbers we got out of the file. Okay, that concludes my demonstration for today. Of course, in real world, things do take a little longer than this because you have to do the interchange. If you haven't got the interchange format in advance, you have to do that. It takes some time, and of course you have to make a much more complicated task, a more complicated structure on the task. Could look something like this, or even more than this, where you have decision tools and stuff like that. So this is just a demo to show how the tools works. If you have any queries, anything, feel free to contact us. I'm Jesper Carstensen. I deal with the technical stuff, and sales is Flemming Rasmussen. And this is our email addresses. And then thanks for watching.